The 10T is the fastest phone OnePlus has ever made, and that speed matters. But the 10T is a totally different device compared to Samsung's S22 Ultra. In my OnePlus 10 Pro vs S22 Ultra review, I said most people should just save money and go with the 10 Pro. I can't say the same about the 10T. Here are the main takeaways. The OnePlus 10T has the fastest processor available right now in an Android phone, much better battery life, super fast charging from the included charger, and it's just more comfortable to use. The Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra has a much better camera system, longer software support, IP68 dust and water resistance, and a stylus. But which is faster? The OnePlus 10T, definitely. That's not to say the S22 Ultra is slow, since both are equally speedy at moving around the interface, opening apps, and unlocking with the in-display fingerprint scanners, but I do wish the 10T's fingerprint sensor was positioned higher, like the S22's. It's a more natural position. Fast performance is what you would expect from the high-end hardware in these devices. A Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 processor in the S22, and an 8 Plus Gen 1 in the OnePlus. Both use the same top-tier RAM and storage in a few different configurations that max out at 16 by 256 gigs on the OnePlus, and 12 by 1 terabyte for the S22 Ultra. For benchmarks, they're close enough not to make much real-world difference, but the 10T's performance is clearly better. The S22 wins in Geekbench single-core, but loses in multi-core. 10T wins in 3D Mark Wildlife, but the big difference comes from long demanding tests like the CPU throttling test and the Wildlife Extreme stress test. The OnePlus destroys the Samsung in both, and manages to stay cooler while doing it. Plus, all these tests were run without any performance modes turned on. As far as gaming, both phones are more than capable of playing intense titles like Genshin and Asphalt at higher detail settings and frame rates, but the 10T can game longer without seeing any performance dips. One thing to note for data speed: unlike the 10 Pro, the 10T can access 5G on all major networks in the States, just not Verizon's millimeter wave 5G. I wouldn't worry about that, but if you do, the S22 Ultra has you covered. So which has the better screen? Easily the S22 Ultra. It has much better peak brightness, a QHD resolution instead of FHD+, an adaptive refresh rate that can shift from 120Hz all the way to 1Hz, and it's protected by Gorilla Glass Victus Plus. Honestly, they both look great to me, and you aren't giving up much with the 10T besides some outdoor brightness. In fact, the 10T has a drastically higher touch sampling rate, which gamers are sure to enjoy. The only other difference is the size and the S22's included stylus. If you're interested in stylusy things, what about the cameras? Now here's a noticeable difference. The S22 Ultra has one of the best camera systems available. The 10T just has a good main rear camera and a decent selfie shooter. You can check out my full camera comparison here, but basically, the S22 Ultra is the phone to get if you want lots of focal length options, consistently good shots with more detail, and additional video features. The 10T is still good enough for me, especially with Gcam installed, but it's much less versatile than the S22. If this video has been helpful so far, please give it a like, and thank you for that. For audio quality, both phones have stereo speakers and sound good, but I think the S22 Ultra sounds more full. I didn't have any issues with Bluetooth pairing, dropouts, or quality on either device, and sadly, neither have a headphone jack. How about the batteries? The OnePlus wins this category with its included 150-watt charger and its excellent battery life. The 10T has a smaller 4800 mAh battery, but it lasts me about 2 days with my typical use, where the Ultra only lasts me a full day. And with the Ultra's 45-watt wired and 15-watt wireless charging, it's gonna take about 3 times as long to charge that battery from 1% to full compared to the 20-minute fill up on the 10T. The OnePlus doesn't have wireless charging though. Oh, and you don't get a charger in the S22 Ultra box. What about the software experience? Oxygen OS on the 10 Pro is basically a slightly modified version of Color OS from phone maker Oppo, and I was worried about this earlier in the year, but it's really been fine. In fact, this is one of my favorite flavors of Android. You can use gesture navigation with third-party launchers like Nova. The settings are pretty intuitive, and I haven't seen any major bugs or glitches, but Samsung's One UI is highly polished, and the S22 wins in terms of software support since it will receive OS updates up to Android 16, and the 10T will only receive up to 15. I also prefer the 10T because it's so much more comfortable to hold due to its slightly smaller size and rounded edges. The S22 is just too big and boxy for me. Some reviewers say that the speed in the 10T is pointless, even for gaming. There's some truth to that if you only game for short periods of time, but while the speed doesn't matter as much today for non-gaming users, in 3 or 4 years when you're still using your 10T, It's gonna matter a lot, since even basic apps get more demanding over time, and this does seem like a phone you can use for a while, since it has great battery life and a good software update future. If you think the OnePlus 10T or Samsung S22 Ultra is the right phone for you, you need to check out Wireless Place, since they have OnePlus and Samsung devices, as well as phones from Xiaomi, Google, Motorola, and more. I've bought a few phones from Wireless Place, and they always ship fast and internationally, have great prices, plus they include a US adapter for the charger if you need it. Please use my discount code PC10 when you check out, if you want to support the channel or just want to save a little money. A link to the site is in the description. I'll drop the 10T camera test right here. And please subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And feel free to comment with any questions you might have, and I will answer them perfectly. And fast, like cheetah fast. I'll type fast. It might not be that fast.